Very good morning to you. Objective Geology, multiple choice questions with answers. This is the solved question paper of Andhra Pradesh State Level Eligibility Test 2024. And I hope this solved question paper is useful for various competitive exams like CSR, NET, GATE, GSI and other competitive exams. Welcome to Set4. Coming to the first question. The subtropical westerly jet over India is observed at a height of how many kilometers during period over A. 16 kilometers during the summer monsoon period over the peninsula, and B. 12 kilometers during the winter months over the peninsula, and C. 16 kilometers during the summer monsoon period over 25 to 30 degrees north latitudes, and D. 12 kilometers during the winter months between 25 to 30 degrees north latitudes. The subtropical westerly jet is observed at a height of about 9 to 13 kilometers during the winter period over 20 degrees to 35 degrees north latitudes in India, which is located south of the Himalayas, influencing western disturbances. So the correct option goes as 12 kilometers during the winter months between 25 to 30 degrees north latitudes. Next question. In the natural atmosphere, the most common form of nucleation is A. Contact nucleation, B. Spontaneous nucleation, C. Homogeneous nucleation, D. Heterogeneous nucleation. So the correct option goes as heterogeneous nucleation. In the natural atmosphere, the most common form of nucleation is heterogeneous nucleation, where new aerosol particles are cloud droplets. They form around existing particles like dust, sea salt, or other aerosols. Homogeneous nucleation, which involves the spontaneous formation of particles from gas phase molecules without a surface, it is a much rarer and less significant process in the atmosphere, which is due to high energy barrier, which is involved in forming a stable new particle. So in the natural atmosphere, the most common form of nucleation is heterogeneous nucleation. D is the correct option. Next question. If all the water vapor in moist air condenses through an isobaric process, the temperature attained is called A. Virtual temperature, B. Equivalent temperature, C. Dew point temperature, and D. Wet pulp temperature. So the correct option is B. Equivalent temperature. The temperature attained when all the water vapor in moist air condenses via an isobaric process with the released latent heat used to heat the air parcel is called as equivalent temperature. And this theoretical temperature, it accounts for both the initial sensible heat and the latent heat that would be released from the total water vapor which is present in the parcel. So if all the water vapor in moist air condenses through an isobaric process, the temperature attained is called as an equivalent temperature. B is the correct option. Next question. SODAR is employed to profile A. Wind velocities using sound waves, B. Wind velocities using electromagnetic radiation, and C. Temperature and humidity, D. Cloud thickness and rainfall. SODAR is sound detection and ranging. So this is used to profile wind velocities using sound waves, and it works by emitting sound waves into the atmosphere and measuring the acoustic signal which is scattered back to the instrument by atmospheric turbulence. So the Doppler shift in the returning sound waves, it provides data on wind speed at various altitudes and which helps to create detailed wind profiles. So SODAR is employed to profile wind velocities using sound waves. A is the correct option. Next question. Which one of these thermodynamic diagrams cannot be used to calculate CAPE? So CAPE means convective available potential energy. So the choices are A. Stew diagram, B. Tiphogram, and C. Emagram, and D. Skew temperature log pressure diagram. The correct option is A. Stew diagram. The stew diagram, it cannot be used to directly calculate the convective available potential energy because it does not satisfy the necessary conditions which are for an equal area thermodynamic diagram, making the measurement of energy areas such as a CAPE is inaccurate. So instead, diagrams like the skew temperature log pressure diagrams or tiphogram, which are designed to maintain equal areas for energy calculations, are preferred for determining CAPE and other thermodynamic properties. So stew diagram is, or it cannot be used to calculate CAPE. So A is the correct option. Next question. Choose the right sequence of gases in decreasing abundance in the Earth's atmosphere by volume. The choices are A. Oxygen, nitrogen, ozone, carbon dioxide. B. Carbon dioxide, oxygen, ozone and nitrogen. C. Nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide and ozone. D. Oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide and ozone. So the correct option goes as a C. So the right sequence of gases in decreasing abundance is C, because nitrogen is most abundant, followed by oxygen, followed by carbon dioxide, and the least abundance or decreasing abundance is ozone. Next question. Solar radiation reaches the Earth's atmosphere as A. Visible and ultraviolet radiation. B. Visible and infrared radiation. C. Infrared radiation only. And D. Ultraviolet, visible and infrared radiation. Solar radiation reaches the Earth's atmosphere across a spectrum of wavelengths, including the ultraviolet, visible, and infrared radiation. However, not all radiation reaches the Earth's surface. The atmosphere absorbs and reflects some, with the infrared, which is making the largest portion of the solar energy that reaches the surface, followed by visible light and then the ultraviolet radiation. Next question. The scale height of a homogeneous atmosphere for a surface temperature 15 degrees centigrade will be approximately A. 8 kilometers, B. 12 kilometers, C. 16 kilometers and D. 24 kilometers. The scale height of a homogeneous atmosphere for a surface temperature of 15 degrees centigrade is approximately 8 kilometers. A is the correct option. Next question. The balance of forces in smaller vortices, so these are nothing but tornadoes or dust devils, is generally, the choices are A. Geostrophic, B. Cyclostrophic, C. Inertial and D. Gradient. So the correct option is B. Cyclostrophic. The balance of forces in smaller vortices like tornadoes and dust devils is generally cyclostrophic. This means that the inward pressure gradient is balanced by the outward centrifugal force, with the Coriolis force playing a minor role. So the balance of forces in smaller vortices is generally cyclostrophic. B is the correct option. Next question. In the northern hemisphere, the subtropical oceanic gyres are driven by surface wind forcing such as A. Easterlies over the equatorial regions and westerlies over the subtropics, and B. Westerlies over the equatorial regions and easterlies over the subtropics, and C. Only easterlies winds, and D. Only westerlies winds. The correct option is A. Subtropical oceanic gyres in the northern hemisphere are indeed primarily driven by the prevailing wind patterns, specifically the easterly trade winds near the equator and the westerly winds in the middle latitudes. These wind patterns exert a force on the ocean surface, causing water to move and creating the circular gyre patterns. So in the northern hemisphere, the subtropical oceanic gyres are driven by force like easterlies over the equatorial regions and westerlies over the subtropics. A is the correct option. Next question. Clouds associated with lightning and thunder are usually A. Stratocumulus, B. Cumulonimbus, C. Nimbostratus and D. Altocumulus. So the correct option goes as cumulonimbus. Cumulonimbus clouds are indeed the type of clouds most commonly associated with lightning and thunder. These towering vertical clouds are known for producing severe weather phenomena, including thunderstorms, heavy rain, hail, strong winds, and even tornadoes. So clouds associated with lightning and thunder are usually cumulonimbus. Next question. The radiation law explaining the relationship between the temperature of a black body and the wavelength of maximum emission of radiation from that body is known as A. Stephen-Boltzmann's law, and B. Wein's displacement law, C. Planck's law and D. Kirchhoff's law. So the correct option is B. Wein's displacement law. The law describing the relationship between the black body's temperature and the wavelength of maximum radiation emission is called Wein's displacement law. This law states that the wavelength at which a black body emits the most radiation is inversely proportional to absolute temperature. In simpler terms, hotter objects emit radiation at shorter wavelengths, while the cooler objects emit radiation at longer wavelengths. Next question. Westward intensification of western boundary currents in the subtropical oceans in the northern hemisphere is better explained as due to A. Presence of strong easterly winds, B. Presence of strong westerly winds, and C. Increase of Coriolis force with latitude in subtropical latitudes, and D. Decrease of Coriolis force with latitude in subtropical latitude. The westward intensification of western boundary currents in the subtropical oceans, particularly in the northern hemisphere, it is primarily explained by the increasing of Coriolis force with latitude. This phenomena, it causes these currents, like the Gulf Stream in the North Atlantic, are to be faster, narrower, and stronger on the western side of the ocean basins compared to the eastern counterparts. So the westward intensification of westerly boundary currents in the subtropical oceans in the northern hemisphere is better explained due to increase of Coriolis force with latitude in subtropical latitudes. Next question. The Indian Ocean central water is formed between the latitudinal region A. 10 degrees north to 20 degrees north, B. Equator to 10 degrees south, C. Between 20 degrees south and 40 degrees south, and D. Between 40 degrees south and 60 degrees south. The Indian Ocean central water ICOW formation, it primarily occurs between 20 degrees south and 40 degrees south latitude within the subtropical convergence zone. And this region is characterized by a mixing of water mass from different sources leading to the formation of IOCW, that is Indian Ocean central water. Next question. A swell wave is a type of wind waves generated by wind force and can be identified A. At deeper depths, B. At far away from wave generation region, C. Within the wave generating region, and D. By sharp peaks of water. So the correct option goes as a B, at far away from the wave generation region. A swell wave is indeed a type of the wind wave, but it's specifically one that has traveled away from the area where it was generated by the wind. Swell waves are characterized by their long wavelengths and relatively smooth, regular appearance, often exhibiting a more organized pattern than the wind waves closer to their source. Next question. The wave spectrum gives the contributions by A. Wavelength to the square of variance of surface displacement, B. Frequency to the variance of surface displacement, and C. Square of wavelength to the surface displacement, and D. Wavelength to the frequency of the wave. So the correct option is B. Frequency to the variance of surface displacement. The wave spectrum, indeed, it represents the distribution of wave energy across different frequencies, and this distribution is directly related to the variations in surface displacement, and in simpler terms, how much of the energy wave is associated with each frequency component of the surface wave. So the wave spectrum gives contributions by frequency to the variance of surface displacement. B is the correct option. Next question. As waves enter shallow waters, A. Wave height and wavelength remain unchanged. B. Only wave height increases. And C. Only wavelength increases. And D. Wavelength decreases and wave height increases. As waves enter the shallow waters, wavelength decreases and wave height increases. As waves move from deeper to shallow water, their wavelength decreases and while their height increases. This phenomenon is known as wave shoaling. Next question. The strength of rip current depends on A. Steepness of the beach, B. Strength of the onshore wind, C. The height and the frequency of the breaking waves, and D. A, B, and C. The correct option goes as a D. The strength of a rip current is primarily influenced by several factors like wave energy, water depth, and local underwater topography. Additionally, tidal fluctuations, wind strength, and the angle at which the waves approach the shore can also affect rip strength current. So the strength of the rip current depends upon the steepness of the beach, strength of the onshore wind, and the height and the frequency of the breaking waves. So that's why D, A, B, and C is the correct option. Next question. Ekman layer in the ocean represents A. The upper oceanic boundary layer of constant horizontal velocity, B. The upper oceanic boundary layer in which horizontal current velocity decreases with depth, and C. Wind-driven vertical currents in the ocean, and D. The upper oceanic boundary layer in which horizontal current velocity increases with depth. The correct option goes as a B. The Ekman layer in the ocean is indeed a boundary layer where the velocity of the water decreases with the depth, and this occurs due to the balance of forces within that specific layer. Specifically, it's a region where wind stress is balanced by the Coriolis force and the frictional forces, which leads to spiraling decreases in velocity with the depth, which is known as the Ekman spiral. So the Ekman layer in the ocean represents the upper oceanic boundary layer in which horizontal current velocity decreases with depth. B is the correct option. Next question. In the North Indian Ocean, strong coastal upwelling process is expected along the Somali coast, Arabian coast, and the east coast of India due to A. Strong southerly along shore winds, and B. Weaker southerly cross shore winds, and C. Strong northerly along shore winds, and D. Weaker northerly along shore winds. The correct option goes as a C. Strong northerly along shore winds in the North Indian Ocean during summer monsoon can indeed lead to significant coastal upwelling along the Somali, Arabia, and the east coast of India. This is primarily due to the monsoonal and wind patterns that drive Ekman spiral or Ekman transport, pushing the surface waters offshore and allowing cooler, nutrient-rich water from below to rise to the surface. So the correct option goes as a C, strong northerly along shore winds. Next is the tips to prepare for the competitive exam. In continuation for the last video, I'm making these tips for the competitive exam. So in addition to that, I'm giving. So number one, create a study plan. So what type of exam and how many reading hours are needed exactly for that exam. So for that, you have to prepare a timetable for each exam. So for that, create a study plan. It is very important. And second point, it is analyze the syllabus. How you are going to analyze the syllabus, it makes a very important. That means what are the easy chapters are there in that syllabus and what are the difficult things are there. You can make a red mark and then you can write it down all the exam difficult things so that you can plan accordingly. So this is analyzing the syllabus and is there the syllabus is objective or descriptive pattern, in what way you have to write the exam. So like that, analyzing the syllabus is very important. And the next step is you have to arrange all the study material which you have. So nowadays there are so many materials are in the available internet. People like you may confuse like what material I have to read. For that, you have to study the reference books. So in the next video, I'll make what are the good important reference books. So for this, please rely on the standard books. Referred material is there, and then textbooks. Minimum 8 to 10 textbooks are needed, and like apart from that, you had to read the NCERT syllabus and then all those other stuff is there. So first thing is arrange the study material. Don't go for the simple and vague materials. So go for the preferred reference standard textbooks. So this is very important. Next is understand the exam pattern. So what type of exam it is there and what is its pattern? Suppose if it is a descriptive or it is objective, and how much authenticity you are preparing for a descriptive exam. So whether you are good at writing or that particular points, like if it is descriptive, 2 marks question or 5 marks question or 10 marks questions, like that, what is the pattern is there? And you have to understand that one and you have to make the notes accordingly. Fifth point, make your own notes. So why this plays a very crucial, because now you say that means you have lots of loads of syllabus or material are there, but your own notes make an important criteria in passing through the exam. Because if you write the notes, this we will have more memory and you can memorize more, and then you can practice this, and you will have 100% confidence that yes, I have understand this one and I have make a notes, and then you can memorize very well. In that, for that case, you need a picture or image format of any topic. Suppose if you take any topic like in glaciers, or then suppose if you think meandering of rivers, or then drainage patterns, or anything in geomorphology, or texture patterns in petrology, or joints, or particular strike slip faults, or in structural geology, anything. For that, what is the important thing is you have to make a picture of that. You have to take a pencil and then you have to write make the diagram of that, so that you can understand more, and then you can this picture format, it will give, or image format, this will have a long-term memory. And another important is table format. Suppose if any structure of silicates or anything it is there, you have to make in the table format, so that it's easy to note it, and then you can copy, and then you can make like some number of things are there, like how you can make it in a what you can say that that format, you repeatedly you have to see that, and then you can practice that. So picture or image and table format, it plays an important thing for a descriptive exam. So make your own notes according to that, and then seek guidance. So this is very, very important, because nowadays you are preparing so much, of course that's good, but how much guidance you are needed. Suppose for the any exam, you can talk to your teacher or mentor, or you can with chit chat with the seniors or friends, and you can share your material, and you can take the guidance from them. And because every point makes an important thing. And another important step is stay motivated. So why? Because you have to stay motivated. Someday or some days you do good, and some other days you feel very bad, or something, some functions or something, some disturbances will be there. Of course, even though you have to be stay motivated, and every time whenever you are sharing the material with your students or friends or anybody is there, you had to be motivated that yes, I am going to secure this exam within that stipulated time period. This is very important. Always you have to be motivated, and then you can make a phone call to your friends or teachers, or that yes, I'm good at this point, I'm not this, like this. You can always be stay motivated and don't desperate at any cost. And another important thing is eliminate distractions. Nowadays digital mania is there, means every time you have to see your mobile, and everything is available in the mobile. That means either it is positive way or negative way. So number of distractions or notifications, or then social media, everything will be there. So you had to eliminate all these distractions. And the other important pointing is visualization. What is this visualization? Everybody knows that visualization means if you see and repeatedly any particular pattern or a type, and then you can become what you thoughts becomes things. So that's why your thoughts always should be motivated, and your thoughts should always be inspired, and your thought should have a good thought that yes, I'm going to crack this exam within this time period. Hook or crook, I am going to solve that, or I'm going to secure that position, or anything you can plan, whatever be be. And give a specified time period for that, daily sit in a calm place, and then visualize already that you have got the exam, or you have appointed as an officer or geologist or something or so on. And this process, it makes the things very um, promptly. So this visualization. So, and another important thing is sleep well. Most of the people, they read so much, and then they will be frustrated. And yes, I have read this much, but the thing is, you have to sleep well. Minimum sleep hours are very, very, very important, so that your brain will be active. And for that, minimum 6 to 8 hours sleep is very essential. So these are the tips overall. Just I will repeat. First is to create a study plan, and second is you have to analyze the syllabus, and third is arrange all the study material, keep in files at one place for any one particular exam, and then understand the exam pattern, what type of syllabus is there, how many marks, and then what type of whether it is a what you can say that objective or descriptive. And make your own notes. That means take a book always with you, carry a notes, and a book with always carry a notes. And that notes, it should contain any picture or image or any table format which are difficult to remember, so that if you write and practice every day, that will become very easy. And another important thing is seek guidance from your teacher or professors or mentors or seniors or friends, whoever maybe website, or give it will give some complete guidance. And another important thing is stay motivated, always be motivated, stay inspired, and to discuss and have good groups, join in good groups so that you will be having you will be connected. And eliminate distractions. What is eliminate distractions? Because the digital distractions will be there, and then mental distractions will also be there. Sometimes you may read more and then you feel that, oh, I may forget or something like that. You will have that desperate feeling. So you eliminate all these distractions and have a clear goal, and then have visualization. Everyday practice thrice or number of times as convenient to you. So this visualization is a very, 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 very crucial step, which is for any competitive exam preparation. And last thing is sleep well. So don't stress too much. Have a minimum stress, and then for that you had to make your brain sharp so that you can remember more. So that you had to sleep well. So these are the 10 tips what I have given, and see you in the next video. These are some of the suggested books. Thank you for your time. See you in the next video. Hope you can explore geosciences and subscribe.